Hi guys, in this video I'm going to talk about ransomware. I'm going to talk about ExtraHop's unique spin on detecting ransomware and how we can actually retrieve files directly from the packets themselves rather than having to restore them from from your backup. And from the packets, these are the most recent files that have been read prior to being encrypted. So those are the recent files that you have in your environment, and if you don't have up-to-date backups, then you can restore them directly from here, and I'll show you that in a minute. But basically, let me talk a little bit about ransomware. There's a big hype, of course, in the industry, and rightfully so. And what happens is, as you well know, you get a workstation in your environment gets infected with this malware, and it starts to encrypt files either on the local workstation, or more importantly and more dangerously is when it starts to encrypt files on a file server shared by multiple people in your environment. So this is where ExtraHop comes in. So ExtraHop is a wired data solution. Anything hitting the wire we will detect. And the CIFS protocol is one of those protocols that we are very strong in parsing and decoding. So whenever we see file names and file extensions that are in a blacklist, well-known file extensions that belong to malware like Locky or CryptoWall or any of those variants, we have a blacklist, and whenever we see that, we're going to flag that. So that's one of our detection mechanisms. We have 4 of them. Another detection mechanism is to look for the ransom note that gets left behind in every folder after ransomware encrypts your files. So if you see any of those bad file names for getting your files back, like this one here, help decrypt my files, we'll flag that as well as an event. The other two, one is basically tackling variants of ransomware that have randomized the file extension. So we have a whitelist of well-known good file extensions, and if anything falls outside that whitelist, then we're gonna flag that as well. The last one is really to see if there is unusual behavior in the environment where you see a lot of writes and modifies for CIFS in a given time interval that exceeds your normal. That also gets flagged, and all this is all documented on the main dashboard. So let's take a scenario here and walk through what you would do in case you do get infected. So you're going to get the alerts at the top here, as you can see, and this could be tied to an email address or an SNMP trap, or it could be integrated to another tool that can take off that workstation offline, block the port for the switch. Multiple things that we can do here. But if you do get infected, you see the IP address right here of the workstation infected. I can copy that and I can paste it at the top here in my global search, do a global record search to see what exactly this IP has done in the last 30 minutes in my environment. On the left, you can see all the record types. I'm going to select CIFS because this is where all the ransomware activity happens, and right away you get the complete list when in time, as you can see at the top chart here, and at the same time the server, the file server that got to the connections from this infected machine. And what I want to do is group by resource to see the file names that got accessed by this client during this time interval. So you can see some of those are clear text files, so the document, PowerPoint, and so on. But if I scroll down, you'll see that some actually here got encrypted. You can see the randomized file extension at the end of the regular file in this labs folder got encrypted. So for sure you know that you've been hit by ransomware here, and these are the actual file extensions showing you the encryption that happened. But we can take this a step further and retrieve the original files directly from the packets, and I'll show you how in a second. So going back to my initial search for CIFS, I can click on any one of those buttons for packets, and same workflow that you've come to know and appreciate. Takes you directly to the packets tab with the exact filter that you're looking for, what IP to what IP on what ports, and you can now have a download of the PCAP with all the packets for that activity that has happened. I've downloaded this ahead of time, and here's the file. So I'm going to open this. It's going to open in Wireshark, and I'll show you how to retrieve the original files directly from the packets. So once this opens in Wireshark, you can go to File, Export Objects, SMB. SMB is the CIFS protocol. And right away, you're going to have the list of files that are included in this packet capture. As you can see here, here's a PDF, here's a doc, and here's the clear text version of the doc, and here's the encrypted version of the doc. So now you have both versions, but of course we care about the clear text one because we want the real document and we want to restore it. So you can click Save All. It's going to save all these files into a folder that you specify. In this case, I already have it here in this Retrieved Files folder. And I can show you now that the original files have been restored. So here's the original file .doc, and here's the encrypted version of it. And from the preview, you can see that these files have really been restored, as you can see here. So in a nutshell, basically our answer to ransomware is we can detect it, we can alert another device, we can alert you to take action quickly, and to minimize basically the damage. And whatever damage that has occurred, you can actually retrieve your files directly here from the packets, as opposed to having to get them from your backup. So I hope this video has been helpful, and thanks again for watching.